Hey there, kids. I'm Switchcat, and welcome to my computer lab slash sewing room area. Today we're going to be doing something a little different than Let's Plays. I've got a gift that I'm setting up for somebody, and I'm going to record the build because my real life self has been questioned about how exactly the Joy-Con builds happen. And while I'm not going to do a tutorial, I did record the process, and so I'm going to be providing it to you in 32 times speed. Let's get started. Alright, here we go. Now this is the stuff. This is the Joy-Cons. I brought them brand new, and so there they are. There's the things nobody uses, and here are the right and then the left Joy-Con. Now the whole point here, besides changing the color, obviously to atomic purple, is this one's going to incorporate a D-pad. So I'm going to replace the 4 little buttons on the left with a D-pad. Yes. First we do the left, because it's easier. So you got to open it, got to use your tri-wing screwdriver, bust it open. There's all the stuffs inside. And of course, inside you're going to have a board, 2 little tiny micro mini boards, a bunch of little cables, and a battery, and like a rumble deal. Those all have to come out and be separated, otherwise they'll get crimped and twisted, so you got to be real careful. All of them, of course, are 0 insertion and force lock receptacles on the board, so they do actually come out without tools. I use tweezers. So there you go. You got the center board holder, which holds your R button and your ZR button, ZL in this case, and all your love stuff. So there's a lot of little springs and things in there. You got to balance it out, snap it in. It's locked in with friction. So that's done. And of course, then you've got your D-pad stuff, which is the whole point. That's the only part there that sticks on. It's the little grommet for the, circle pad or analog stick. This part gave me a little bit of trouble because it's really tiny. I know I'm covering up with my hands, but that's how it is. That's the minus key. So you got a tiny little button for the minus key, and then you have a little click button that receives the L key. Both of those are their own little boards attached with their own little wires. So you put the main board back in, attach that. Now that has to go over. That has to go over the analog stick. So the analog stick has to go in first. That has to go over it. Analog stick has a little tab that holds that little wire down. So like I said, sorry you can't see it, but I had limited gear at this particular table for recording this sort of thing. Anyway, so analog stick is in. You got to make sure that one's down there really tight. Move all the little wires, and then you have to reattach the ZR or ZL key in this case and put in your secondary holder, which is going to hold your battery, and it's going to hold the sidebar. So this is sidebar. Now I replaced the buttons on this one. I didn't replace the buttons when I did my clear one because I didn't want clear buttons. I wanted the gray ones. But in this case, the purple does look okay. So I replaced the ZL and ZR buttons, or SL and SR. So all the buttons have been replaced, or all the side buttons have been replaced. And the D-pad has replaced the 4 keys. Of course, analog stick is unchanged, and the L keys at the upper corner are unchanged, as you can see. So yeah, there it is. I put it together. Now you'll notice that I assemble and disassemble several times to make sure that everything fits before I put all the screws in. Because being plastic, you can't take it apart, forever. It starts to wear it out. So I'm using the original screws, the original tri-wing screws, because the screws that come with this, they're not very strong. They're made out of some kind of aluminum or something. Done. Right Joy-Con. Okay, now I changed the camera angle because the right Joy-Con is way harder than the left. And I really had to get close to it. And the reason being is that battery holding board that holds the ZR key has got a very short wire on it, and you've really got to get in there. So on this one's got antennas and sensors as well. So you've got a lot more little dangly parts. And the method that I use is to not separate a lot of them. So you can see the antenna and all the other little sensors are all still attached to the board. You just have to be really careful. So anyway, it came with colored buttons, but they looked stupid, so I didn't put them in. I like the black buttons. It just goes well because the L and R keys and the analog sticks are black. Kind of artsy. So yeah, already got the board back in. That was the easy part. Now the, you know, ZR key in this place has got the little springs that you have to work through, and then the mid board goes in. Now before you get the mid board in, I've got to really figure out how to get that tiny cable attached, because it is too short for my big monkey hands to reach in there and get. But I eventually get it. There it goes. And I put the R key in, the antenna in, check and make sure that all the sensors and stuff fit into the new shell. And then we're going to do the SL and R keys. I'm glad you can see it a little better in this one. But the SL and R keys, they just drop in. Now, Nintendo's genius when it comes to assembly. There's almost no way you can put the buttons in the wrong place, because they all have little tabs that are physically coded so that they can only go in one way and in one place. It's very convenient for a reassembly. That way I don't have to keep turning it over and seeing which key is which. Okay, so sideboard and the bottom are done. So, camera ran out of juice around that point, but basically you saw me finish it. Now let's test it. Alright, now you can see my clear originals, which I call my ice cubes. Those are my originals. These are the new ones. These are the atomic purple. Putting them on my switch here at the lab, and pulling them in. You can see that they're pairing. In case you don't have lots of Joy-Cons, this is how you pair them. You just attach them. Alright, so D-pad is functional, analog is functional, other analog is functional, and buttons are functional. Now I've got Portal Knights on here, so I can use both sets of controllers at once and compare. Okay, so left side is the purple, and it's working. We got menus, we got movement. Looking good. And we've got the ice cubes on the right. And we got all that, because the ice ones are the ones I use all the time, as if you've seen in the other photos or videos. I've got the ice cubes on there constantly. So we're done. It's a fully functional set of atomic purple Joy-Cons using the original Joy-Con innards, and the overall build took about 2 hours, but at massively sped up speed, that wasn't so bad. So that's it. If you ever wanted to see what it looks like doing that, there you go. If you want a tutorial, however, I'm not the guy. You're going to probably want to get on YouTube and look for somebody who's trying to say, hey, this is how you do it, because I'm not telling you how you do it. I'm telling you how I did it. So anyway, that's it, and we'll do some more games later on, but I hope this was interesting at least. This kind of stuff interests me, but I'm out of things to say. So be good and have a good day. Bye.